Yes, so hello one and all, and I hope you
Hello.
all are doing fantastic.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, good evening everywhere, everyone. I would like to welcome you on behalf of Tejas Ambassadors, and this is the fourth and the last presentation in the series of assessment. And someone has well said, that is what learning is. You suddenly understand something you have understood all your life, but in a new way. It's exactly the way I think we are all feeling when we join these types of webinars and uh, presentations. So here we are today with the fourth and the last assessment on writing, and it will be presented by none other than Suyog, Dixit, one of our most pioneer tag coordinator and a strong pillar of Tejas Ambassador Group. So over to you, Suyog sir, and I would welcome you all.
Okay, thank you very much, Suchita ma'am. खूप दिवसांनी असं जास्त लोकांशी बोलायची संधी येते. सो रिअली हॅपी फॉर दिस ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी. कसं झालंय, ह्या कोरोनाने जाम करून टाकलंय सगळ्यांना. आणि एक चायनाच्या माणसाने मेसेज टाकला होता काहीतरी की हा कोरोनाचं तर काही माहिती नाही भावांनो, पण मे बी असं काहीतरी होऊ शकतं की बाबा आम्हीच दोघं एकमेकांचा जीव घेऊन टाकू यामधल्या कालावधीमध्ये. असं म्हणतात की न्यूटनच्या काळातही अशी काहीतरी एक इमर्जन्सी आली असेल आणि त्या काळामध्ये त्या न्यूटननी ग्रॅव्हिटी, कॅल्क्युलस असे काही काही शोध लावले होते. आता ही गोष्ट आपल्याकडच्या शास्त्रज्ञांनी थोडीशी जास्त सिरियसली घेतली. काल मला एक मेसेज आला. मेसेज होता की 5च्या स्पीडला असताना बटन बंद केलं की तो जो फॅन आहे तो 78व्या सेकंदाला थांबतो. बरं, 78 सेकंद व्हायच्या आतच दुसरा मेसेज आला, तो बजाजचा फॅन असेल म्हणे, उषाचा फॅन असेल ना, तो 84व्या सेकंदाला थांबतो. म्हणजे एवढे भव्य शोध आपले लोक लावतायत. एक मेसेज होता की मारीच्या बिस्किटावरती 37 छिद्र असतात. सो लाईक एकाने असा फोटो टाकला की तो जो काही नमकीन चिवडा असतो त्याच्यातले प्रत्येक इन्ग्रेडियंट वेगळे वेगळे केलेले होते. सो इन शॉर्ट आपले लोक असे काहीतरी अवघड भव्य शोध लावतायत. आणि कॉम्प्लिमेंट्स टू यू की तुम्ही असे काही शोध न लावता आज इथे तेजस अँबॅसेडरवरती आहात. आणि थँक्यू व्हेरी मच फॉर जॉईनिंग दिस वेबिनार. सो गुड इव्हनिंग टू ऑल. Hello, I am Suyog Dixit. Before we start our presentation, here are a few requests to you. Please mute yourself. Then if you are running video, I request you to turn off the video to save our bandwidth so that you can hear me clearly. Please grab a pen and paper. There will be a point in our presentation where you will be requiring this pen and paper. And of course, if you have any doubt, you can use the chat box. So, as Suchita ma'am has said, this is the fourth presentation in this series. The first one that discussed with assessing listening, then assessing speaking, reading, and this one is the last one, assessing writing. So, here's the overview of this presentation. We'll start with classroom practice. Then we will discuss about different aspects of writing. Then the next part we'll discuss that will be developing writing exercise and rubric sheet. And finally, we will discuss few do's and don'ts about assessing writing. So let's start the first part, that is classroom practice. And here I have a small question for you all. How do we assess writing skill in a classroom? So you can tell me some activities, you can tell me some approach. You can even tell me some ideas that you use in your classroom to assess writing skill. You have 2 minutes. You can use the chat box. Please type in your reply in the chat box. How do we assess writing skill in our classroom? Your time starts now. Please mute yourself. बाद में ऐकू जाम झालोय आम्ही. Okay. So hello Nadeem sir, nice to see you here. Then Pratibha says dictation is a way to assess the writing skill. Someone I can loudly hear news. Please mute yourself. Sandeep sir says letter writing, theme expansion. Wow, good one. Again Pratibha says writing para. Then sharing their own experience. Again, good idea. Shapes practice of letters early time. Very well said, Rajendra sir. Sudhakar sir says picture stories, describing a picture with the help of writing task like diagnostic test. Okay, we'll discuss about it sometime later. Creative writing, fantastic. Then competition, handwriting competition, good one. Story writing, different tasks, sentence structure, spelling mistake, writing about yourself. We will come back to this point in the same presentation. Paragraph writing, dictations on pictures, stories, different tasks, sentence structure, spelling mistake, info transfer. Good one, Sandeep sir. Starting with phonics and then dictation, then understanding sentence pattern. Nice to see you, Shweta ma'am. Good one. Completing telephone conversations. Good one again, Pratibha ma'am. So nice replies by everyone and innovative ideas as well. So let's move ahead. When we think about a writing exercise or when we think about writing skill, for our convenience or for the convenience of this discussion, I have classified the writing skill into few sub skills. Just like this, mechanics and structure, form and expression. So when I say mechanics and structure, it's about like, for example, we can say about shape, size and strokes. Shape, whether that B is perfect B or is it D, that comes in shape. Size, the letter should not be too small or too big, that falls under size. And strokes, whether that letter is written with appropriate strokes, that again comes in strokes. So this part of writing we'll call as mechanics and structure. The second one, that is form. For example, a simple example is there, subject verb agreement. Like when I say I go to school, I use go. But when I want to say he, we say he goes to school. So here the verb follows the subject. So that falls under form. And when we think about expression, use of figures of speech, tone, these things fall under expression. So for our convenience, I have divided the writing skill into these three sub mechanics and structure, form and expression. Now your next task that comes with paper and pen. So what you are going to do now, you will try to list as many factors or as many sub skills as possible in each of these three parts, like what comes under mechanics and structure, what comes under form, and what comes under expression. Your time starts now. You are not going to type in the chat box. You are going to write this thing on the piece of paper that you have with you. So your time starts now. Yes, sure. Nadeem sir, we may discuss it later. Thank you very much for this. So I hope you must have come up with some sub skills on your piece of paper. I have listed few of the sub skills that I'm going to show. Please have a quick look on these sub skills, and if you have something else to share other than these things, please type in that in the chat box. If you have the same things written, that's really good. But if you have something other than these things, please share it in the chat box. So what I have come up with, mechanics and structure, capitals and smalls. So like many times students commit mistake while writing capital and small, particularly K. They write capital K many a times in spite of small K. Shape, size, and strokes we already have discussed. Spellings, no need to explain, we know it a lot. Punctuation marks, students these punctuation marks. When we discuss about form, sentence structure, or syntax, whether the arrangement of structure is correct or not, that falls under sentence structure. Use of correct prepositions, articles, etc. For example, for a bigger part of my life, I used to say, I'm in train. And at a point, I realized it is not in train, it is on train. So this comes under preposition. You again know a lot many examples of article as well. Subject verb agreement already discussed, whether the tenses are correct or not. And when we think about expression, the first thing I have listed, that is relevance, whether whatever is given, is it relevant or not. The style, whether the style is good, like if we are writing formal, so whether that style is formal enough or not, or is it informal, or is it according to the situation, that comes in style. Clarity of thoughts, whether the thoughts are conveyed clearly. Flow of thoughts, if there are more than one thought, if the flow is good, that falls under expression. Again, figure of speech, of course, that is a higher level skill. And homogeneousness. So what happens many a times when we give some homework to a kid, he might copy some part from Wikipedia, again some part from some other website, and write some part by his own. So when we see such type of writing, we can see that the writing is not homogeneous. So this falls under expression. So these are the sub skills we have listed. If you have some other sub skills, please use the chat box. Cohesion is a good one. Thank you, Nadim sir. Okay, on bus 2. Thank you, Sweta ma'am. Okay, so we have a list of these skills. Now let's move to the next part of our presentation, where we are going to discuss about a task. Now see, the task is look at the board and copy. And this is a task for third standard. Like there's a small exercise given on the board, and students are expected to look at the board and they're expected to copy the exercise. So the question is, by this exercise, which sub skills can be assessed? So think for a minute. Here's a list of the sub skills. You know, exercise, look at and copy. And when we give such type of exercise to our kids, out of all these sub skills, which sub skills can we assess? This is your question. Think for it for a minute and then let's discuss it. Thank you, Sandeep sir. Okay. So when I think of this exercise, I come up with these three sub skills: capital and small, shape, size and stroke, and spellings. These three sub skills can be assessed with the exercise. Now the next question comes: how are we going to exercise these? How are we going to assess these sub skills? So for that, we have developed a small rubric sheet where we have used the same sub skills. We just have added spacing here for obvious reason, because spacing is again one elementary skill. So when we think about capital and small, it reads something like this: jumbles capital and small case, confuses in few letters, for example, K, K, J, J, writes correct case letters when asked to write separately, but commits mistake while writing words, commits occasional mistakes, and Faiz uses correct case letters everywhere. When we think about shape, it goes like doesn't write at all for one. For two, it goes jumbles shape of letters, for example, B, B, P, Q. We already have discussed about it. For three, it goes writes few letters with irregular shape. For 4, few letters are incorrect, and for 5, appropriate shape. Priyanka ma'am, would you please read the third one? Size. Hello. Priyanka ma'am, can you hear me?
आणि मग ते मला वाटतं प्रज्ञेश वरती येऊ लागला त्यामुळे पटकन उठले.
Okay, Priyanka ma'am, I guess you are quite busy. So,
Can I?
Yeah, please, ma'am.
Yeah. The third one is size. The first option is doesn't write at all. The second is writes too big or too small letters. Third is writes few letters. Fourth one is few letters are incorrect. And fifth one is correct size.
Thank you very much for that, Shweta ma'am. Would you mind reading the next one also, please?
Yeah. The fourth one is the fourth subskill is stroke. Doesn't write at all. Writes with incorrect strokes. Third one is writes few letters. Fourth one is strokes of few letters are incorrect. And fifth one is use appropriate strokes.
Okay, that was so nice of you. Thank you very much for this. Thank you very
Yeah,
much for
thank you.
volunteering. The next one is spacing. Doesn't write at all. It goes 1. For 2, writes few letters. For 3, writes with uneven spacing. For 4, spacing is uneven at few places. And for 5, appropriate spacing. The sixth one is spellings. For 1, let's say it doesn't write at all. For 2, writes few letters. 3, copies letter by letter from board. 4 goes, writes few letters by reading on board. And 5 goes, reads complete word and writes. So let's see how it reflects in our classroom. For example, Rishikesh, he has 4 in capital and small. So that tells us that he commits occasional mistake. Then he has 4 in shape. So again, it tells us few letters are incorrect, and likewise, we can take notes for each and every student. So this is how the rubric sheet works. Now, as we have taken a task here, look at the board and copy it. We can use different tasks. Here's a list of some suggested tasks. Requesting you to take a screenshot of this screen. This might be useful to you at some place. Okay, now see, in our previous presentations also, we have discussed few things about rubric sheet. So let's have a very brief discussion about how to develop this rubric sheet. And for this, let's discuss some other tasks, that is, write few lines about yourself. So, okay, we will discuss about analytical rubrics. Rubrics are of two types: holistic rubrics and analytical rubrics. Holistic rubrics, when we'll use the complete whole expression as a segment, that goes as holistic. But here we are dividing it into other subskills, so it is analytical rubrics. So the first one, it goes identifying the subskills. So our exercise is write few lines about yourself. So as we have discussed about 5 or 6 subskills for our first exercise, similarly the first thing we'll do, we'll find the subskills that we can assess with the exercise. So there's a list of such subskills in front of your eyes. Then the second step goes, describe the perfect submission. As you can see here, I have noted 5. What should be at 5 everywhere? I just took it down. If you are assessing for your class, you can go for your own rubrics. You can determine what is the ultimate goal or what is the perfect submission for you, and you can define it with the help of such rubrics. That would be your second step. Again, this is for my convenience. You can alter it, you can change it as per your will. The next step, describe the lowest possible level. So as you can see here, I tried to describe the lowest possible level. Like for example, in capital and small, it doesn't write at all. So that is the lowest possible level. So this is the next step. I intentionally have left some blank spaces, that is like homework for all. And again, to as we are working from home, to scale up the homework, we have the next step: describe intermediate steps. So like the first one, that is the lowest possible level, the fifth one, that is the highest. Now I have made it 5. You may go for some other number like 10 or 3 as per your wish. So the next one is we grade it from 1 to 5. So 1 is the lowest one, 5 is the best one, perfect one. So 1 to 5, we grade it. That is the next step, describing the intermediate steps. So this is how we design this rubric sheet. So I'm hoping that whenever we'll think about any writing exercise to our class, we can go with such type of rubric sheet. Now, at the end of our presentation, we come to the do's and don'ts part. So, do's give a clear idea. Now, by clear idea, what I mean here, the learner should know what a perfect exercise look like. Many times they get confused or they are not sure what exactly to be submitted. To avoid this, giving them a clear idea of the perfect work always help. In other words, we should set an example, if possible by ourselves or if possible by some other way, that how a perfect exercise or how a perfect work will look. Then the second one, that is the next one, that is follow a consistent process. Now, what we did to grade a student, like if you remember, we had a slide where there were some names, Rishikesh, Divya, and we have graded them. And we have the reason why we have given him 4 marks or why we have given him 2 marks. So this is what I mean by consistent process. Many times what happens, we just see the face and we grade him. So it's not the correct practice, isn't it? So following the consistent process where we are able to tell the reason behind the grade is always a good idea. And the last and most important, develop a culture of self-assessment. So like this is not a short-term goal, but slowly and steadily we should develop a culture that students develop a culture of self-assessment for themselves. They assess their work, and that will be really helpful to them. In don'ts, the first one that is pretty much obvious: we should not teach certain students, we should not give punishment to them, we should not use annoying words and all that stuff. And what happens many a times, we think too much about this don't part, and that results into the second one, overgrading. We tend to overgrade students at times. So again, that's again a not good practice. We should not overgrade the students. So these are the do's and don'ts. So this was all from my side. Here ends my presentation. Thank you very much. If you have any questions related to the presentation, please use Tejas Ambassador group. On the group, Tajwin Walia ma'am will be discussing about all your issues, queries in a separate webinar. So here ends the assessment series. But the journey of webinars will be continued. The next one, which is really coming soon, that will be about data analysis. So in assessment, we have captured a lot, too much data. So how we can use this data for betterment and how we can analyze that data, that will be discussed in the next part of this webinar series. This is all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Suyog sir, for this effective and so useful session. You presented very well, and we got a lots of ideas. We got a lot of
Okay,
Hello?
I think she somehow has lost the connectivity. So may I take the
Yeah,
privilege
network
to,
issue.
yeah,
So would you mind? Yes, please.
okay.
Yes, please, ma'am. Yes.
So yes, it was she was very lucky to have this chance to say thanks to everyone, as she is facing some problem about the internet connectivity. So in her absence, I would take this chance to say thank you to all. for sparing your valuable time and joining this journey of learning together. So this is just a start. We are just starting the process to think about the assessment as a whole. And this is just a start. I'm very honest with my words. And your feedback, your queries, your real life challenges about the assessment and would surely help all of us to explore this topic in detail so that we can become a better teacher in the future. And this is a golden chance. Though the coronavirus had made us like us, it had made us stick in our homes, but let's use this time to better ourselves. So here I thank you all, Nadeem sir, like Sachin sir, Gajendra Zadhar sir, Madhuri Bhosle madam, Shweta, Sohail, Sandeep sir, Chunky Kumar, how can I forget, Vikram sir, Priyanka, and yes, Balaji sir, um, Mhatre sir, and many more, many more here. I couldn't read their names because they are appearing with their devices like Galaxy M30, Harsha ma'am, and something like that. So sorry for that if I can't uh, acknowledge you or appreciate you with your names. Yes, Yogesh Vadai sir, and Atmaram Sonne sir, yes, you are all there, and thank you for being here and motivating or boosting the confidence of the hosts, because your presence is going to motivate them throughout their lives. And I hope Tejas Ambassador had served you useful, and these sessions you had found them useful. So if there are queries according to this topic, so I welcome your queries, post them on Tejas Ambassadors, or I will be sharing the link, YouTube link of this webinars, so you can post your queries over there too. So on behalf of all the Tejas Ambassador, I thank you all. So if I forget to mention anybody's names, please forgive me. It's my personal fault, not the Tejas Ambassador's fault. So thank you very much. And I'm sure Priyanka ma'am would be missing this chance and she would be repenting that she can't address you all. But I'm sure from the next. Yes, Priyanka, are you there? Please, I would like to hand over the mic to her now. Please say something. Okay, I think she is still unavailable. So thank you all. And yes, hopefully from in the next webinar, I will be trying, like we will be trying to have a webinar on data analysis, how to give feedback, and the planning about the results we have got. So replanning our instructions, replanning our activities, thinking again about the LOs that we had set and the activities and the instructions to be executed, and how to deal with the data that we get. Mostly we teachers found the data and we say, yes, he is passed or failed. He had got 35 marks or 40 marks, but when you are looking at the rubric sheets, it says a lot to us. And so let's start a journey to become a better teacher with the data analysis in the next webinar. So thank you one and all. Take care, stay safe, and yes, let's become better together. Bye there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suyog sir.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Suyog sir and Suchita ma'am.
Yes,
Hello.
same here.
Can I?
Same
Sir,
here.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
Hello.
all. Thank you very much to all.
Suyog sir, thank you very much. This is, it's a very useful webinar, and it definitely we will follow all the rubric set in our professional career, and it's really very useful for our CPD. Thank you very much, Suyog sir.
Thank you very much.
I totally agree.
So nice to see you, Sachin Dada.
Many more parts of writing assessment. This is only one part, I think.
We had created all the
many more parts.
We had created all the 4 skills. LSRW.
No.
Welcome.
Writing assessment. Assessment. Right?
Sachin Dada, you are welcome to take the next one.
No. I'm talking about writing assessment. You must have more parts, more examples to express the ideas of assessing writing. That's what I am saying.
Let's discuss it sometime.
Okay.
Okay.
On call.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining. And stay
Thank you,
safe.
Suchita ma'am.
Enjoy life. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye. Take care.
I'm
Thank
very
you so much.
privileged to have few subs over here, including you, Sachin sir. So thank you, Yogesh sir, and one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. May I end the meeting now, please?
Yes. Stay
Yes,
home.
please.
Stay safe.
Bye bye. Good night.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Good night there. Take care.
Okay. Bye bye.